Well, I'm an LED nerd, so I spent like half an hour in the light bulb aisle of Walmart today, and I noticed there's some new stuff in there that's probably worth mentioning on here. So, this is the typical LED bulb that you'll see that we've been seeing for the last 2-3 years, maybe 4 years actually. That is something really new to the light bulb market. Inside of it, you've got separate diodes on a little metal heatsink or PCB board, and it's really not connected very well to this outer part, so it's really not kind of doing its job as a heatsink as well as it could be. But then it has a plastic cover on it, which I had sliced off here, and you can see these are both plastic. This one calls to say it's 8.5 watts and 800 lumens, and it's actually from my test it's 9 watts. This one claims to be a 9 watt, and it's testing at 9.5 watts, and it claims to be 800 lumens. So this is kind of like the older version and the newer version, and they're getting cheaper. The difference in these heat sinks is pretty noticeable actually. I can feel that this one actually feels like it's made out of metal, and it feels cool to the touch. This one feels like it's made out of plastic. So that's, well, they're making it work somehow. So these are down to $1.50 a piece now. There used to be probably $2.50 a piece back when I bought these. So they're getting cheaper, but the specs haven't been getting any better. And if anything, like I said, this looks like a plastic heatsink. It's, probably not a very good conductor of heat compared to what aluminum would be. So this is the new stuff that they're selling. They're marketing it as glass LED, I believe, if I got the right package here. And it kind of shows the glass sticking through here, glass LED. And I'm not sure why they thought that would be cool, that it's glass, but it does say it lasts 22 years. It says it's dimmable, and really interestingly, it's 800 lumens for 6.5 watts. So that's a big step forward in efficiency. So because it's dimmable, that's a nice feature for people who have a system overhead over the dining room table, or maybe in the ceiling fan or whatever. It's nice to be able to have that dimmable, but the efficiency is what has me interested. And the fact that it's glass, and it's really just arbitrary. What's really inside of this bulb is this. I actually smashed one of these just to get in there so I could do some testing, and I figured I'd show you guys. So this glass is really just a diffuser, and the fact that it's glass, I'm not sure why. Again, maybe certain people prefer that. They feel like a glass is better in some way, but it's not being used as a heat sink. It's just being used as a diffuser and to keep water from getting in there. So that's 2700K, and it's drawing 6.8, 6.9 watts, which is just a little more than it claims to be. And about $2.50 a bulb. So not a huge increase in price, but it's a bigger increase in price than it is an increase in efficiency. No surprise there. And there's the bare system. So with the bare bulb, you're actually, this is obviously not safe. You wouldn't want to use something like that in your home. But I just needed to do it for an experiment. But you're actually losing some of your light with this cover. It probably takes 15-20 lumens per watt. Maybe it takes 15 to 20% off the bulb, because it gets converted into heat into that coating, whatever that coating is. So basically there's really no difference in technology between these two LEDs. Basically it's a blue LED with a phosphor coating that makes it glow at 2700K or 3000K depending on the bulb. They actually have 5000K also, and these are 2700K. Same thing, it's a blue LED with a phosphor coating that's kind of dialed in. And you can even see the difference. Let's see if I can find an example here. This is a 3000K, I believe. No, these are both 2700. If I can find a 3000, you might be able to see the difference in the phosphor itself. Basically, the more yellow it is, the more yellow the phosphor is, the more yellow the LED will be. And I'm not sure if this camera is going to really pick this up, but you can see that this one here is more yellow, and this one's more orange. This is a 3000K, which is a more cool white, and this, a slightly cooler white, which I like to use this for like a workroom. And this is more of a 2700K, which is good for bedrooms, dining rooms, that sort of thing. And you can even get down to a 2200K, which gives you a really nice orange glow, kind of like a lantern type of color, like a gas light, and maybe getting towards the color of fire, I guess like a candlelight type of color. And that's actually really nice for like outdoors. and your lamp posts and that sort of thing. And you can put it in your bedroom. It's very mellow, great color light. And you can kind of see the difference in the color of the phosphor, but this glass is frosted, so it's hard to see. But the more yellow, then kind of gives you an idea what you're dealing with in terms of what color temp you're going to get. But the point is, the technology is really not different. It's a blue LED with a coated phosphor. So there's nothing. What's really interesting about it is the fact that there's no heat sink. You know, this has this piece of aluminum to spread the heat on the back of these LEDs, and this has nothing, just air. And of course, these bulbs, these glass bulbs, I don't believe there's a vacuum in there. I believe it's actually filled with air. It might be a specific type of air that's, you know, to help it conduct heat away from those filaments. But either way, it can't be a vacuum, because then it wouldn't be able to cool using the air convection at all inside that bulb. And there's something interesting worth mentioning that's written on this bulb. It says suitable for damp locations, not for totally enclosed luminaires. And the reason is because this LED is already enclosed inside that glass envelope, and the same thing goes here. LED is inside this coating, this cover. I think I just broke it. And when it's inside of an enclosed luminaire, it is double envelope, so it's going to be insulated even more so. It just gets extra super hot. And these things, like, heat is their enemy for LEDs. If you keep an LED relatively cool, it'll last for 100 years or more. It'll probably last for 200 years. It has no particular reason to die. But if you run it hot for a long period of time, it'll lose its well, the hotter it gets, it loses its brightness. But if you run it for a long time hot, it'll lose its brightness permanently. It'll still use the same amount of wattage. So it's pretty important to keep these things cool. And putting it inside of a double enclosure is a recipe for disaster. You'll notice it in some neighborhoods where the homeowners association started replacing bulbs with LEDs with these bulbs, because they're $1.50 a piece and they're pretty darn bright, and they're supposed to last a long time. Well, you put them inside of a closed lamp, you see half the neighborhood's light bulbs are out, and that's why. So you'd probably be better off using a light bulb like this, because it claims to be a 22-year bulb, and it probably can withstand the heat better than this bulb. But I can't guarantee that either way. You know, running them hot is a bad idea, and the manufacturers are already running these really hot. That's how they get away with making it $1.50 a bulb. So that's why these ones, you know, if this is $1.50 and these are $2.50, you're probably going to have, this is going to last longer and better inside of an enclosed luminaire, I would suspect. But if you're going to put it inside of a closed luminaire, I guess you could chop it off like I did here. I actually do use these bulbs like this, but it's not considered safe. I mean, you probably have AC power right there, so you kind of can't really do that officially. And it's worth keeping that in mind. Something else worth mentioning is that these are dimmable, and these are not. Also, these dimmable bulbs, they use a different driver and so therefore they're more efficient in terms of power factor. Power factor is something that's kind of a complicated topic, but in a nutshell, if it has a poor power factor, it's going to draw more current for the given wattage. And if it has a good power factor, it'll draw less current for its given wattage. And you can see that on this bulb. It's written right on there. It says 50 milliamps, and this one says 150 milliamps, even though they're both almost the same wattage. So that's the difference between a power factor corrected and a not power. It's only slightly power factor corrected. These are actually measuring at a 0.8 power factor for those that are interested, and these measure at a 0.5. And why that would matter is if you're going to run off a generator or a DC system, you would want to go with power factor corrected. And that's something might be actually worth paying a few extra dollars for if you're going to be trying to run the system with your own, you know, gasoline and generator power and that sort of thing, or just if you just want to be mindful of the environment, that sort of thing. This is actually going to have a lower carbon emission because of that better power factor. There is one other consequence to that, which you might be able to see in this video. I noticed it when I watched the replay last time. I can't see it on my screen now very well, but there's bars. Those bars that you're seeing is because this light is actually flickering, because I believe that it's using a pulse width modulation type of driver. Now let's see if this one does it. This has the cheaper version of the driver. It's not power factor corrected. Let's see if we can see any bars. I'm pretty sure I don't. So that kind of gives you some idea. Another thing worth mentioning between those different bulbs. In other words, people that are worried about flickering, subconscious flickering, might want to keep that in mind with these type of bulbs. I can just barely detect it. When I first plugged this thing in and I was doing some testing on it, I noticed that I could see a very slight flicker when I turned my head. You can just barely see it out of the corner of your eye, and that maybe some people might be more sensitive to it than others. So that's something that's worth considering if you are sensitive, you get a lot of migraines, or you just really hate indoor lighting, that sort of thing. This bulb has that problem. And I'm curious if this other bulb has it as well, because I'm pretty sure that this one is dimmable as well. And power factor, it's got a better power factor. Let's see if it does that same thing or not. I'm looking at my power meter right now. Yep, it's 0.8 power factor and it's drawing 40 milliamps. But I'm not seeing those same flickering bars on my screen. I don't know if you guys are going to see it in the replay, but that's pretty interesting that this one does it and this one does not. Let's see, this does claim to be dimmable right there. And this one is actually 500 lumens and 4.5 watts. It's the same color, 2700K, and about $2.50 per bulb. So if you don't want a, you don't want that bright 6.8 watts, you can get a 4.5 watt. If you're trying to save, pinch pennies on your electricity bill, that sort of thing, or running off generator power. So this is different. Where this one's 2200K, this is 2700K. So it's a little more of a normal, color, a warm, soft white color. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any suggestions or any new bulbs you've seen, please post up in the comments. Thank you.